Hey everybody. Okay, so for this evening we were working on problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. And I'm just going to go ahead and write that here if you can see that in my window. And these are going to be on problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 9. All right. So this is what we worked on in some of the classes. We worked on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Um, but there was only maybe one class that we only did 1 and 2. So I just wanted to go ahead and show you. You went home with either or both your cut up fraction bars that were in your Ziploc bag, or you borrowed mine that were here in the classroom, or you took home your math journal so that you could see the bigger picture on what was going to be best for you, because we were looking for equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So this is the one we did for question number 1. So if you can see on my screen, we're looking right here where we have the 1/3 plus 1/6. And here they were using the fraction bars, and you had the 1 whole, and then underneath it, you can see that you had 1/3 plus the 1/6. Well, I was showing you here using this full picture model of the fractions that we did today, that if I had 1/3, here is my line, and I'm going to just kind of draw, I folded up some paper so I can see it. And then I can make this line across. I can see that 1/3 is equal to 2/6. It's also equal to 3/8. And it's also equal to 1, 2, 3, 4/12. Okay, but I'm looking for the smallest denominator, the lowest amount. And so if you can see that right here. So I can see that it's 2/6 because I'm going to keep the 1/6. So my 1/3 is going to change to 2/6 plus 1/6. I mentioned that if you forget that the denominator stays the same, as you can see right here, then draw out, already put in the dividing bar, your fraction bar, and write your denominator on the bottom when you're adding and subtracting only. Then you can just add 2 plus 1 is 3. On the directions, it says to write down its simplest form. So what is the lowest form it can go? So I'm looking at my 1, 2, 3, 6, and I'm drawing my line here, and I can see that 3/6 is equal to, let me bring that paper down here, 1/2. So it's equal 1/2, and that's what we did in class. We also worked on number 2 in class, and here I wrote out, I did this for some classes and some for not, but I had the 2/3. So I'm going to bring down my chart and look for the 2/3. So I'm going to my 1/3 bar. 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. My folded paper, I'm bringing it down here just so that I can see it. And I did this because on the 4th, I needed to see that a lot of kids kept saying, well, 3/4 is equal to 2/3. And it's like, no, it's not. It's shy of it. So we were able to see which one was greater than or less than. But I'm bringing down here, and I can see that 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And I wrote that here in this corner here, 4, 6. Remember, I'm looking for same denominators. I can also see that 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 twelves. And then I wrote that to the side right down here as well. Okay. Then I went to my next problem. I have 3/4. So I'm going over to my 1/4 line, and I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move my guiding paper over, and that's 4. So I'm representing 1, 2, 3/4. So I'm looking here, and I can see that 3/4 is also equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. And I wrote that down below here. You can see. And remember, you can pause this at any time so that you can catch up. And I can see that 1, and I'm going to bring my fraction bars down. 1, 2, 3/4 is also equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/12. And then I wrote my 9/12 right here. Now I had to look at both of the fractions for each one, the equivalents, right? So which ones have in common? And this is the 2 that I have here, and this is the 2 that I had here. Well, I know 6 is not in the next one, so that's not equal to. So I cross that out and cross this one out. I see that 2/3 is equal to 8/12. And then I also, that 3/4 has the same denominator here, and that's equal to 9/12. Because I have now the same denominator, I'm able to combine those together or add to get the total sum. So here I know now that 2/3 is equal to 8/12 plus 3/4 is equal to or equivalent to 9/12. Because they have the same denominator, I can now add those together. Remember, we talked about putting that fraction bar there, bring in my 12 when I'm adding, and then we'll be subtracting. So here it's 8 plus 9 is 17. You immediately knew, a lot of you knew that this was an improper fraction, and so we're going to need to convert it into a mixed number, which means that we know that it's going to be greater than 1. So we did it several ways so that you could see it. Mental math-wise, we talked about 12 goes into 17 one time, and then with 5 left over, 5 is my now the numerator, with 12 stays the same for my denominator. Or I know that there's 12 twelfths. Remember, I have 12 equal parts for the whole. So there's 12 twelfths equals 1 whole. So I had 17 twelfths minus 12 twelfths. And so I boxed in my 12 twelfths and put my 1 whole to here. I subtracted out 17 minus 12 equals 5. Brought my 12 over. 1 whole plus 5 twelfths is equal to 1 and 5 twelfths. And that's where I got that there. Then I showed you up here that my mental math, this is what it is written out. This dividing bar here is the same dividing bar here. So I'm saying that 12 goes into 17. 12 goes into 17 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. Then I subtract it out. 17 minus 12 equals 5. My remainder is now my new numerator with the denominator still staying the same. So it's 1 and 5 twelfths. To check your work to make sure you're correct, you start at the denominator and you go to the denominator times the whole number. So here it's 12 times 1 equals 12. You get the product of that and you're going to add that to your numerator. So 12 plus 5 equals 17. So it's 17 twelfths, and so my answer is correct. All right. In some of the classes, we did problem number 3, but it was not in all the classes. And so here, again, this is going to be equal to, let me see if I can. I want to actually do the writing. Here. So the answer to this one is going to be 3/6 if you did not write that down. Or 1/2 because it's in simplest terms. And then I had the 2/6 and 1/6. It's really important that you understand you're able to get the visual of your fraction bars so you know what 1/3 looks like. You do not want to not have an understanding of what it looks like. On STAR, you're going to have some pictorial models because the state wants to make sure that you understand how fractions have the same value, but they look different. So 8/12 will be this is equal to 2/3. I'm going to flip that on that side. I'm going to move me over here. And I'll move this over just a bit. Move that out of the way right there. And then we said that 3/4, because we need to have the same denominator, is equivalent to 9/12. And that's going to equal, you said it was 17/12. And if you've already got this written down, then fast forward me. And that's the same as 1 and 5/12. All right, now we're going to move over to number 3, and that is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just redo number 3 on this sheet of paper because not all classes had that. And I'm going to just write down the 1/6 plus the 3/4. If you are using your fraction bars, so I'm going to show you how you can use both of those. We did this in class yesterday and today, or we actually cut out, but yesterday for sure. And some of you used it when we were in class, and some of you used this other one, didn't take it apart. So I'm going to look for my 1/6. That's 1/3, 1/4. It's going to be a smaller one. Remember, as the number increases in the denominator, the part gets smaller because it's going to take more parts to make that whole. So let me kind of fold this here. All right, so now I'm going to represent 1/6, and I'm going to add 3/4 to it. So I'm going to get my 1/4, and this is going to be 1/4, 2/4, and 3/4. Now, using your fraction bars, you're just going to kind of use your different fraction bars to see which ones you can use that would, is 1/6, can 1/6 go in there? So that'll be that we'll change the fourths to sixes. And so if you're not sure, just take out your 1/6 and see if that's going to work. Is 1/4 equal to 2/6? No, it's way too big. So that's not going to work out. So I'm going to move that away. The next one that I have is 8s. I know that 2/8, right, will fit as equivalent to 1/4, but is it also equivalent to 1/6? So I'm going to move this over. And we can immediately see that it is not, right? Because if I move this here, 2/8 is much bigger than 1/6. So that doesn't work. So I'm going to move the 8s out. I'm going to go ahead and get my 12s. And how many 12s will be equal to 1/6? Oh, look at that. 2 12s is equal to 1/6. And how many of my 12s will be equal to 1/4? Okay, you're probably a little bit faster than I am. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So here I have 3 12s is equal to 1/4. So if 3/12 is equal to this 1/4, and then this will be 3 more 12s and 3 more 12s, how many 12s will equal to 3/4? So I'm going to, let me move this down here just a bit so that I can see it. Sorry about that. It's kind of moving around. What I want to do is to keep this here so that you can actually see. So 1/6 is equal to 2/12. So I'm going to move this down to 2/12 plus, and then 3/4. We said that 1/4 is equal to 3/12. 2/4 will then be 3/6/12. Then 1, 2, 3/4 would be 3, 6, 9/12. Okay. Now I have the same denominator. I can now add these up. If you're that kiddo that forgets that the denominator stays the same when you're adding or subtracting only, then immediately do your dividing bar, your fraction bar, and write your denominator out. Now I can add 9, 10, 11, and the answer is 11/12. This is as small as it gets. I'm only 1/12 away from a whole. Okay, so on your paper, you're going to just simply, what I want to see, I don't want to see just the 11/12. What I want to see is you have this turns into the 2/12 plus 9/12 equals 11/12. Okay, all right. Question number 4. Moving along. I'm going to write that here. And anytime you need to enlarge it, go ahead and do that. So that's number 4 is going to be 5/6 plus 1/2. All right. So we can use the fraction bars, or I'm going to switch over so you can see it both ways. I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to the sixes. I have 5, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6. So I'm going to place that right here. And I'm going to write down all of the ones that are equivalent to 5, 6. So I can see that right here. I can already see that it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that 10? So 5, 6. So I have, what was it again? 5, 6 is equivalent to 10 twelfths, right? So I'm going to write down 10 twelfths to the side over here. So I have 5, 6 is equal to 10 twelfths. And I write that there. Now I'm going to look at my 1/2. So I'm moving over here. Wow, what do I notice? 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 6. If you can see that right there. There we go. So my 1/2 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 6. So I'm going to place that here. 1/2 equals to 3, 6. It's also equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths. So I wrote that there, if you can see that one. Oh, I thought it was going to enlarge. I'm trying to enlarge that little box for you. There we go. It's equal to 4 eighths, which is equal to, and this was the 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 twelfths. So now I'm going to see which is my lowest denominator. I see this matches, and I can see these two match. So you're trying to find the lowest. If you pick out the 12s, that's fine. But you can also see you can do the 6s, right? So this is going to stay at 5, 6, and I'm going to show you both ways. Plus, the 1/2 is now equal to 3, 6, which is equal to, there's my fraction bar, bring down my denominator, or bring across my denominator, and then 5 plus 3 equals 8. It's an improper fraction. So 6 goes into 8 one time with 2 left over. My denominator gets moved across. These are two even numbers. I know that they are divisible by 2, or I can split them in half. So my 1 whole, 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So the answer is 1 1/3. If you picked out the 10 twelfths and 6 twelfths, that's okay too. So let me show you. This would be equal to 10 twelfths plus 6 twelfths equals 16 twelfths. 12 goes into 16 one time. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 4 is your remainder with 12. 4 goes into itself, or you can split those in half. 4 is divisible by 2, and so is 12 because they're even. You can cut them in half. So it's 1 2, 6, which is what you got over here. And then you can continue splitting that in half, and then it becomes 1, and half of 2 is 1, half of 6 is 3. So it still gets the same answer of 1 1/3. So no, some kids in the third period, third block, did this with the 12s. That's still fine. You can do that. Or you can find the lowest common denominator here. All right, so that was the question. That was for, I'm going to move this over, 5. So here, I'm just going to put the 5, 6. Plus the 3, 6. If you're wanting to take out a whole number, you can simply do that as well. That's 8, 6. You know that there's 6 equal parts to the whole, so you can take out 6, 6, because that makes it 1 whole. I'm going to put my fraction bar and immediately write down the 6. 8 minus 6 equals 2. So now I have 1 plus 2, 6, which equals 1 2, 6, which I can split those in half, and I'll get 1 1/3. Okay, there you go. All right, we have 3 more problems, 6, 7, and 9. All right, number 6, 1/4 plus 2/3. I'm going to come back over to my paper and write down that problem. Make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to place my number 6 here. I have 1/4 plus 2/3 equals. I'm going to get out my handy dandy fraction bars if that's what you're using. There's my 1 whole. I need 1/4. I'm going to kind of move that up a little bit. There's my 1/4. And then I need 2/3. So I'm going to find my thirds. That was just 3 equal parts. And here is 1/3. I need 2 of them. And 2/3. Now I need to divide those up. And what am I going to do? What's going to fit there? Well, it can't be the 4th because 4th is too small. Thirds are bigger than a 4th. See how the number is growing? The 3 is smaller than a 4. That means that 3 is, the size of it is larger because it takes less pieces to fill the hole. It takes more pieces for the fourth to fill it, so the pieces are much smaller. So that's not going to work. What about the sixes? I could do the sixes, absolutely, but will it work for the fourths? No. What about the eights? Well, the eights will work for the fourths, right? 2 eights for the fourths, but it'll work for the thirds? Not at all. So now we're going to go to the 12ths. Well, we figured it's going to be 1 with our other problem, 2 3/12 is for the 1/4, right? So I'm going to bring this down and it'll be 3/12. What about the thirds? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can add another 4 in. My 12ths are in the Ziploc bag and I'm trying to get them out of the Ziploc bag. That's funny. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So how many 12ths do I have for the 2/3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this changes it to 8/12. So how many do I have in all? 8, 9, 10, 11 12ths. So the answer is 11/12. We're almost at 12/12. We're going to miss it by 1/12. All right. So over here, let me reduce this part here. We're going to keep, this changes here to 3/12. Plus 8/12. And that equals to 11/12. That was the same as number 3. Okay, and there we go. All right, let's go to number 7. Kind of want to move along here. Let me stretch out my paper here. We have 1/3 plus 5/6. Okay, let me switch out papers. And this time I'm going to switch over to our sheet here. And so for number 7, I have 1/3 plus 5/6, and that's going to equal. All right, so here's my 1/3, and then 5/6. So 1/3, look at this, is equal to 2/6, or 1, 2, 3, 4/12. So for the 1/3, I'm going to place this on the side. 1/3 is equal to 2/6, which is also equal to 1, 2, 3. There's the 1/3. 1, 2, 3, 4/12, right? Okay, so there we've got our equivalent fractions. Now I'm going to my 5/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/6. Okay, well, I'm going to pause right there where I can do 5/6, which I also know I have 2 left over, so it's equal to 10/12. But I'm looking for the lowest common denominator, right? So here I have 2/6 and 5/6. So now I'm going to rewrite that where I have 1/3 is equal to 2/6 plus 5/6 is equal to 5/6. I'm going to keep that the same. And that's going to equal to what? I'm going to put my dividing bar, my fraction bar, bring over my 6. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Do my mental math. 6 goes into 7 only one time with 1 left over, so it's 1 and 1/6. Okay. If you're wanting to, you know that there are 6 equal parts. So there's 6 equals 1 whole. So I'm going to box that up and put a 1 below. Put my fraction bar, that's a 6. 7 minus 6 equals 1. So 1 plus 1 6 equals 1 and 1 6. Okay? Is it getting a little bit easier? Because the more practice you have, the easier it gets. Remember, you have to look at the pictures, be able to identify. Tomorrow I'm going to be showing you a different strategy to find the common denominator, and then you can use whichever is easiest for you. And this is going to equal 1 and 1 6. I'm going to check my work. 6 times 1 equals 6. Take the product. 6 plus 1 equals 7, and it is 7 6. So it makes it correct. All right, and then the last problem is number 9. Let me move this over here. I have 1/8 plus 3/4. So I'm going to write that here. 1/8 plus 3/4. Well, I can see my 1/8. I'm going to go to my 3/4 real quick. 1, 2, 3/4. Well, look at that. I can see that it's equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eighths, and I can keep my 1/8. So I'm going to bring this down. 1/8 plus 6 eighths equals 7 eighths. And that was it. So that's where you're finding the common denominator. Guys, that was all you needed to do this evening. And then we're going to be doing a different strategy, continuing the adding with common denominators, and then bringing in the mixed numbers, and then doing the subtraction, and then changing that up. Then we go to multiplying fractions, then dividing fractions. All right. Guys, take care. And I will see you. Tomorrow. Oh, I didn't write that on there, did I? So let me go ahead and write this here. The 1/8. So I'm going to keep the 1/8 the same. My 3/4 changed to 6 eighths. And that makes it 7 eighths. Spend time in the kitchen with your parents. Look at those measuring cups. Look at recipes. Ask your mom or your dad if you can help them bake something so that you can see what those fractions look like in the measuring cups. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.